Welcome back to HR Nightmares, where we discuss HR nightmare stories from the perspective of an HR expert with fucking common sense. You know the vibes. Let's get into it. I was a contract employee, which means I had this weird thing where I had two bosses, my contract boss and my tasking boss, who was a permanent employee. We got a new contract boss, and in addition to being openly racist and sexist, he was also on a huge power trip. He basically wanted to take all of us contractors out of control of our tasking supervisors and put us under his direct control so he could farm us out. He didn't want to share supervision of us. He essentially wanted sole custody. What? Y'all, is this parental? There was a lot of things that he did, including using mild racial slurs in meetings. Like, what is a mild racial? Is that like racism light? Like, is that just un poco, un poquito? But this one takes the cake. Me and my female coworker were called into a meeting in his office. In addition to telling us about his power trippy plan, which we didn't agree with for a whole host of reasons, he also decides to complain about our tasking supervisor as well as her boss. And since both of them are women, he calls them wall of estrogen that's standing in his way from accomplishing his goals. Now, I've been called a lot of things in my life, but I've never been called a wall of estrogen. No, son is wildin'. Okay. Well, somehow they found that he said this. Okay, we told them the second we step back into the office. Yeah, because let's be honest about it. I would have been running my yapper about that too, because that's a wild statement. So we get called into another meeting. This time we get a lecture on how anything said in the meeting between us is proprietary information to our contract company and not to be released to our tasking supervisors. This man is on a roll. We decided it was time to call HR. Y'all should have called HR from the first time. They told my coworker to take a few days off paid until this could be sorted out. The next day, we have a meeting between my contract boss and two more of my coworkers. This meeting basically consisted of him complaining about how he hasn't been able to accomplish his goals. Was it the walls of estrogen again? Then he says, and I wish coworker was here because this next part is about her. And basically spent 10 minutes ripping into how awful and disloyal she is. The kind of counseling you would generally give behind closed doors instead of in front of everyone, and you would generally give when the person is actually there. The day after that, he was no longer our supervisor. Yeah, you had me at wall of estrogen and the mild racial slurs. Like, what was y'all waiting for? He was 2 seconds away from physically accosting y'all. It seems like HR did what they were supposed to do, but these folks, even though they're contractors, they still have rights. They should have been empowered to bring this up very early on in the game. Being a 1099 employee does not mean that you get to be insulted or harassed or discriminated against at work. You have rights. File that EEOC claim.